Guys, this has to be one of the worst starts of any political party in history. As far back as I can remember, no political party has had a worse and more disastrous start than this woke socialist Labour government. They cannot catch a break, and it's because of a whole government comprised of liars, thieves, Jesse Phillips in this case, which we're going to touch upon very shortly, denying the request for Home Office to lead a public inquiry into child sexual exploitation and grooming gangs in Oldham. Can you imagine this? She has impeded an inquiry, a public inquiry, and she thinks that people are not going to ask questions as to what's going on. Hence why X has been heating up and Elon Musk has been shedding some light, saying, hey, what's going on in the UK? This is an absolute joke. We deserve answers. What are you trying to hide? Who's complicit in the Labour government in this disastrous and demonic acts that's been happening in the UK? Like, who's trying to hide information we need to know now? So anyway, guys, I'm not going to do a long introduction. I'm just going to read a little bit of the article, and then we're going to watch the health minister, and he's going to be talking to Laura about what this Labour government have done and plan to do in regards to the grooming gangs. Billionaire and owner of X, Elon Musk, has attacked Keir Starmer and the Labour government over its response to grooming gangs in the UK. Pressure has mounted on the Prime Minister after Safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips denied requests for the Home Office to lead a public inquiry into child sexual exploitation and grooming in Oldham. The tech billionaire triggered an attack on the government on Thursday as he suggested Ms. Phillips deserves to be in prison. He also appeared to place blame at Starmer's door, arguing that grape gangs were allowed to exploit young girls without facing justice during Sir Keir's time as Director of Public Prosecutions. Since the Tesla boss posted his claims on X, several high-profile figures, including Tory leader Kemi Badenoch, have also spoken out calling for a full inquiry into the sexual abuse.
But let's start with this, because this is not a normal situation. Given how far Elon Musk has been going in his attacks on Keir Starmer, in this post, for example, accusing the Prime Minister of being complicit in what he calls the rape of Britain. This is not mild criticism. Can you work with this man, as you suggested you still could a few days ago?
Well, actually, what I was saying the other day is that if he wants to roll his sleeves up and actually do something about tackling violence against women and girls, then online platforms, whether X or any of the other platforms, have got a role to play in keeping people safe online, helping law enforcement clamp down on perpetrators of violence against women and girls and people who want to groom kids online. Keir Starmer and Jess Phillips, by the way, who've both been on the receiving end of completely ill-judged and ill-founded criticism, are people who have done, in their professional lives, more than most people ever do to lock up paedophiles, rapists, wife-beaters, and every other kind of scumbag in our society. As Director of Prosecutions, Keir Starmer opened up historic cases going after people who thought they'd gotten away with it. He put in place specialist prosecutors to make sure that we could build the evidence to put rapists behind bars. And as for Jess, the work that she has done in her professional life outside politics, supporting victims of violence against women and of girls, has helped to support them to get their day in court and to lock up their abusers. So the fact they're now Prime Minister and Victims Minister means they can now do in politics what they've given their careers for doing, and their critics are not fit to touch their records. They've got records that their critics can't even begin to touch.
And yet this is what Elon Musk says about them, calling Jess Phillips a rape apologist, saying she's a wicked witch. What do you say to him? You just said the critics aren't fit to touch them. Is Elon Musk not fit to touch or to talk about?
It is a disgraceful smear of a great woman who has spent her life supporting victims of the kind of violence that Elon Musk and others say that they're against. And it's all very well sitting there, and I'm not just talking about Musk, I'm talking about armchair critics on social media. It's all very easy to sit there and fire off something in haste and click send, when people like Keir Starmer and Jess Phillips have done the hard yards of actually locking up wife beaters, rapists, paedophiles.
So you say
those are good people with great records outside politics. The reason why Keir Starmer and Jess Phillips came into politics was they recognised that what they were doing, either in Keir's case through criminal justice or Jess's case through the voluntary sector supporting victims, could go so far, but politics, government, is a force for good in our society, and that's how you deliver real change for people. And it's great we've got a Prime Minister and a Victims Minister who are now able to do in government what they spent their professional lives seeking to tackle.
And you say it's a disgraceful smear. What then is the government actually going to do about this? Because Elon Musk does seem to have developed a specific habit of attacking your government with the huge megaphone that he has. What do you say to him? Stop it, back off, keep your nose out, or ignore it?
To be honest, the Prime Minister can talk about whether he wants to respond, but on the job that we're doing to tackle violence against women and girls, the best response to what I think, beyond the sort of the oxygen we give to individuals on social media, there are serious issues. The most important voices in all of this are victims of violence against women and girls and other sexual crimes.
He's an advisor,
and that's the focus we've got to give, and that's the focus we are giving. The Prime Minister, the Home Secretary, the Victims Minister, they're focusing on tackling the problem, not talking about it.
And we'll talk about the NHS, which is hugely important in just a second, but I just want to be clear. Can Elon Musk just carry on doing this with impunity? I mean, this is not any old person, it's not even any old billionaire. He's an advisor to the man who's about to move into the White House. So what would your message be to him as someone who's part of the government, who's trying to take on these issues, as you've explained?
Well, he's got a big platform, he's got a big voice, so he can say what he likes, but what we're focused on is making sure we deliver justice, to make sure that we tackle violence against women and girls. And let's not forget, there was an independent inquiry in this country into grooming gangs, the Alexis J report. None of those recommendations were implemented, so we're getting on with doing that.
And we'll
there have
put
been
that
some
to the
very
Home
powerful
Secretary
reports. The Rotherham report, for example, called out not just the corruption locally, but also the extent to which fears of being accused of being racist or upsetting community cohesion were disrupting or intimidating people from coming forward. We've got no time for that. We want to deal with those problems too, and we will. But we will do that by delivering real change, not just by talking about it. And I think, to be honest, that there's been far too much time and attention given to what one person in another country has got to say. We're more interested in what victims in this country need us to do, working with victims to make sure that they get the justice they deserve, and to make sure that other people don't find themselves being victims of the worst kinds of crimes in our society.
Well, let's talk then about your plans for the NHS.
Cool. Laura works for the BBC, so I understand her giving him, leeway, allowing him to dance around all the questions, not answer anything. So yeah, I understand the coalition link between them two. He didn't say anything of significance. He just said, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. He didn't say as to what he's done or why Jess Phillips has behaved the way she's behaved. No, he's not done any of that. He's just saying, what he plans to do. So that's number one. Number two, he said that Elon Musk is just a man in another country. He's not just a man in... This is what I'm saying. People like this are going to cause this country problems. How is he just a man in another country when the US is the UK's biggest trading partner? How can you even talk like that? And like she said, he's going to be the advisor to Trump. And you're saying he's just another man. Another man that's going to give $100 million to reform. That's just another man. He's clearly not taking this serious, honestly. So yeah. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you at the next video. Peace.